Welcome to Unscripted, an IICRC video program. Business success comes from hard work and strategically using all the tools available for company growth. So today, we will visit with two entrepreneurs who run companies that are part of the IICRC Certified Firm program and have tapped into the tools offered by the IICRC. Two professionals who leverage proven technologies, marketing and management methods, and have focused on the customer first and foremost. So sit back and get ready to learn from their business journeys. It's my privilege today to welcome two industry entrepreneurs, business owners, true professionals, Jeff Moore with ATI and Kevin Kluth with Pinnacle Eco Clean. Let's do some introductions. I'd like to hear your story. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your companies. Jeff, we'll start with you.
All right, my name's Jeff Moore. I'm a second generation restorer. I've been working for my dad's business since 1994. From high school, kind of worked all my way up in the industry from opening up 8 locations for ATI to running a portion of the country. I currently head up our mergers and acquisitions team. I also spent a lot of time volunteering. I'm president-elect of the RAA, and my dad started this business back in 1989 in a little 1,000 square foot storefront. Now we've got 76 locations, 3,000 employees. ATI Restoration is the largest family operated restoration business in the world. And happy to be here, excited. We are a full service company doing everything restoration from construction, environmental, pack outs, emergency services.
You weren't busy enough with the company. You have to help out with RAA as well. So good for you.
RA takes up a lot of time. It's very rewarding and happy to serve and better the industry as a whole.
Absolutely. So, Jeff, your company focuses on restoration. Kevin, I believe your focus is a bit different. Talk about yourself and your company and what you do.
Yep, my name is Kevin Kluth, owner of Pinnacle Eco Clean here in Rochester, New York. Had the company since 1980, 19 years old, basically out of high school. We're a typical carpet and upholstery clean firm, also doing tile and grout clean, all those related aspects to the business. Our specialty, as many companies are now, is oriental rugs. Area rug cleaning is a nice part of our business. Also, a growing factor in our business too is fabric protection. That kind of covers most of what we do.
And I'd like to spotlight that you're both part of the IICRC Certified Firm program. So it seems like you take advantage of every opportunity to succeed, to improve on what you do. So again, thank you for joining today. But let's talk about when your companies first got their start. What was your initial vision, and how have you focused on that over the years? And Kevin, let's go to you on that one to start.
Oh, okay. Well, 19 years old, initial vision, Gerber has that saying, have an entrepreneurial seizure, right? I didn't really have that. I just wanted to kind of make a living. Had a lot of friends that were in the business of doing janitorial type work, cleaning services, and that's kind of what I started doing in imitation of them, because I noticed they seemed to do well with it and had some free time as well. So I thought, I could do that too. We had a focus on medical offices, and then early in the business, what became a real problem, a thorn in my side, was carpet cleaning. Either resoiling issues or even getting a guy to show up on time, like he said he would come. It was a real problem. So I just said, you know what? I can't do worse myself. I might by accident do better. And that's kind of what kickstarted the carpet cleaning part of the business.
Thank you, Kevin. And Jeff, you mentioned many years ago, 35, I believe, the company got started. What was the vision then, and how has that changed over the years?
So vision then obviously very different, very similar to Kevin. I mean, any entrepreneur that's starting a business, you're really looking to, provide. You're starting a business to either help your community, but most importantly to survive, to pay the bills, to provide for your family. I mean that's the crux of really America is really putting bread on the table for your family. So when my dad started it, he had worked at 2 other restoration companies. So I'd say the prefix for what ATI was, and I'd say most of that is still true today, was to provide restoration services and build a stable business. There are restoration companies out there that work and live and breathe off a catastrophe, large losses, hire people, fire people. And so I think the prefix for my dad was I want to build a business that helps my geography, helps my community, and I want to be able to have a steady, stable business. So in his prior life, he gave me examples where he would hire, fire, lay off the same employee 3 times in a given year based off how many storms came in, how many large losses came in. And so he really wanted to build it on residential, small commercial, but really day-to-day jobs. And I would say that still stays true today for the mix of business that we as a family and we as a leadership are looking to do. And so obviously it's not providing family, it's providing for all of the families and the organizations and opportunities as we continue to expand. But I think the prefix of what my dad did is still the same today, which is to build a sustainable business model. Our average job is still even at our size, it's still $13,000. So depending, doesn't matter how many storms come in or if we get a $100 million job or the biggest job is $5 million, our average job size will be between 11,000 and 16,000, irrespective of any of those things that will take it up or down by a couple of $1,000s.
So, Jeff, that's interesting. Some may say success is revenue driven. It's the money. This doesn't sound like it's the case with you. So how does ATI define success?
So I think success comes down to, in our business, it's service. At the end of the day, depending on what demographics you look like, there's either 10,000 or 60,000 or somewhere in between of companies that do what we do. So the best way to differentiate yourself is to provide the best service. At the end of the day, I truly believe whoever you hire, if you have a flood, your house will likely look the same no matter who you hire. The difference is in all the variables, the communication, how you respond, how you treat people, the professionalism that you ensue, whether it's the uniforms, how you're communicating, how you're portraying yourself. I think that's the most important part. But when it comes to revenue, I think revenue is certainly a component of it, Jeff, but it's such a small component of it. I'll give you an example. We generate a large loss every year, but that doesn't define our success. The definition of success for me and any in the business or any one of my offices, how many jobs are we doing? At the end of the day, that tells you if you've got a steady business because anyone could get a big job. Kevin could get a big carpet cleaning job at a museum, but does that mean that his company or our company crushed it this year? No, we got one job. We got one job that happened to be something bigger than we've ever had before. But if we lost and we've got 20% less jobs than we had before, as an owner, I'm going to be concerned, even though I may have had the most profitability on the bottom line, I may have the most revenue, but if I'm shrinking in number of jobs and opportunities, that is going to catch up to me sometime. And if I'm always relying on getting that one-time loss, don't get me wrong, we're excited when you get them, but I think a better metrics is making sure you have more jobs and more opportunities, more calls. Again, job size is going to go up or down depending on the macroeconomics of the economy, how much money people have in their pockets. And we can't necessarily control if the next big job I have is $100 million or $1 million. A lot of those things are totally out of our control. So better demographic is have more jobs because that will lead to long time future success.
That was well said. Kevin, I don't know what you're going to say to that. What would you add?
Well, I agree pretty much everything Jeff said. Obviously, you got to keep the wolves at bay. Make sure you stay ahead of the bill collectors. That's a given, right? But I think the bottom line really is, are you happy? Are your technicians and employees in the company, are they happy? And are you still engaged in the business? I still love it. I mean, I've been doing it for 45 years. I I may don't have as much energy as I used to, but I still love the business. It's great to meet new people and help them out and get the positive feedback. It's kind of a rush.
Appreciate that. I think those watching want to know what did you do to market your company? What kind of marketing methods worked? Because everyone's looking for an angle, right? And there's really maybe nothing new out there, but there may be a new way of looking at it. So Kevin, let's start with you. When you build your cleaning company, what marketing methods have worked for you over the years, and especially talk about today?
You go over the years, well, initially, of course, Yellow Pages was the big thing, which is no longer basically in existence. Cold calling worked out pretty well in the commercial environment for us as well. Today, the cold calling can still work because so few people actually do it. It can be really good to get commercial work. We've been in business, as I said, for a number of years, so I'm kind of lazy on the cold calling front nowadays. Today, to me, it's all about an optimized website, make it look professional, networking and referrals, constantly working that, getting a really good high-end reviews is really hot right now. And it can change, right? Every There's the flavor of the month or so forth. Facebook is hot one week or year, and then that kind of goes by the wayside and something else takes its place. So you got to kind of stay up on things that way.
That makes sense. And yeah, I remember the Yellow Pages every year having that conversation with the salesperson. I don't think Jeff's old enough to remember the Yellow Pages, but
No, we still have a metric in our database, believe it or not. It's got all the historical data for Yellow Page referrals. No, it was around when I started.
all right. So Jeff, same question. Talk about marketing. What works for you over the years and especially now?
So I'm going to talk about marketing and business development. I think they're both intertwined and interrelated. So I would say marketing, to Kevin's point, was probably very similar in the early days. I would say marketing now, there's things, I think what Kevin said, reviews are super important. So at the end of the day, if I want to go to a new restaurant with my wife, I'm looking up, if it's not a new place near my house, I'm looking up Open Table or I'm looking up Yelp. Sometimes it's pretty scary to look at a restoration company's number of reviews, especially if you look at the number of jobs that you do. And so you need to make sure you have really good reviews on Google. You need to make sure you have good reviews on Yelp. If you're a restorer or any business of decent size, Glassdoor, I think we're only as good as our employees. And so how are our employees gauging you as an employer? So Glassdoor is another really good one from an employer perspective. We as ATI don't do a great job. We do a great job on social media. So I think, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram are all great sources. You have to have a robust website that's generating content, SEO words. I think there are ways to generate paid losses, paid leads, whether it's on Google, it's on Facebook. That's certainly an avenue for some. It's nothing that we have used to generate revenue. I would say ATI's business model from dad starting in 89 until now is really more relationship driven. It's conference driven. It's trade shows. It's getting involved in your community. And when I say the community, I'm talking about commercial property managers, insurance adjusters, insurance agents, being involved in those associations, networking at the conferences, because we can market to the consumer, which is very broad, not very specific. I can go do Facebook advertising, but unless my model is to get the work directly before the insurance company, that may or may not work for you. But there are a lot of people that works for. So I think sales, business development is ultimately the best ROI, but there's a big investment in staff and people, associations. Marketing, it works for some. It doesn't always work for others. I think it just depends on what works for your business.
So Jeff, we'll stick with you on this. When you meet a prospective client, um, what do you share with them that convinces them that ATI is the right choice?
I think at the end of the day, you got to figure out what the client is looking for. Are they a seasoned customer who has losses on a daily basis? Are they a customer who may have your services 2 or 3 times a year? And are they happy with who they're using? Have they had a 20-year relationship or is it just a commodity? And to some people, it's a commodity. So it's going to be price based, quality based, and ATIs, I would say normally not the cheapest. If anything, we're probably going to be more on the upper end in terms of price point, but figuring out what the driver is for them. If they're a property manager, are you really price sensitive if you're filing an insurance claim? Or are you more interested in getting back in business? Because I can tell you there's someone down the street that'll do it for a third of my price. But the reality is, if the business is out of business for 2 extra months, did you really save money? You may have saved money on the bill, but ultimately the claimant may have actually cost money, and you may actually be losing that tenant if they're renting real estate because they've already vacated the lease. And so it's not always the number on the bottom line. What are the indirect costs that you incurred by taking longer to get the job done? And I say you really need to tap your audience, figure out one of the things I learned early on in my career, especially talking to adjusters, is how often are my services needed? Are you actually walking a job on a day-to-day basis? Do you have a need for someone like me every 5 days? How often should I be following up with you? Because if it's only once a year, that's a whole different story than someone who needs my services 3 or 4 times a week. And so really tapping your audience and having them tell you what they need, because I can change my pitch depending on what their needs are.
Yeah, I think we have to do that for sure, depending on what the response is. Kevin, what do you think when you meet a client, prospective client? How do you convince them that your company is the one to use?
I guess we kind of lean a lot on our training. No, we personally train our technicians. We'll have, nationally known instructors come to our facility to train our tech come too. We like to network with our competitors. We view competition as more of a partnership. They offer services sometimes that we don't, like restoration work. We offer services that they don't offer, so that can work out very well in both ways. The fact that we wash wool rugs, people hear that and they just go, oh, well, if I can trust them with an Oriental rug, I guess I can trust them to clean my wall-to-wall carpet. So that really helps out. And the fact that we've been in business for as long as we have. So all those things tend to work out very well.
Yeah, I'll say both your companies, as you look at social media and websites and all the references to what you both do, it does give a peace of mind to those that use you. And that's what customers really want. They want to choose the company that fits them, that'll take care of their issues. But now let's talk about brand identity. So, Kevin, we'll start with you on this, going back and forth here. You've built a brand in your community. How would you tell another company, maybe a younger company starting out, how they can build their brand like you did?
First thing, you have to have the quality work to back it up. That's A1. You could build the most beautiful brand in the world, and if your work is, let's put it this way, if your work is garbage, that brand is going to help get the word out even faster that your work is no good. So you have to have that high level of quality at first. Once you got that, then it's easier. You still have to get the word out there. I think you have to have a logo. It doesn't have to be the newest, greatest logo in the world, but one that's credible. And along with your marketing materials that match, everything looks professional. Uh, we've often had people ask us, are you guys must be a franchise because they see our vans lettered, the uniforms match, the logo and print stuff that we leave behind is all matched. And no, we're not. We're just a locally owned company. So they're impressed with that. Um, and then in addition, your referral sources. If you have a high, referral source like the best carpet stores in the area referring you, and your website is designed to kind of pre-sell, and your website doesn't look generic. So your website has a look that the people have decided already they're probably going to use you, and they assume that you might be a little more pricey than the competition, but they've already seen, well, they've got their reviews, they got the website, the carpet store recommended them, my friends recommended them, I'm going to use them before they even call us. So usually it's just a call to schedule work many times.
Thank you. And Jeff, what would you say? I know ATI has a great reputation. You're proud of your brand. What have you done over the years to build it, and what would you tell others who want to do what you've done?
Well, I think anyone who's looking to get into restoration, make sure you spend time on your brand and your purpose, your identity. I think that's something that, Kevin and my dad, when they started the business, were, again, my dad's purpose was to put bread on the table for the family. It was, it's funny, people ask me the story of ATI, and there's not a really cool, credible story on why dad called it ATI. It was, again, he was putting something on paper to go to the bank. I mean, he never imagined it would be what it is today. But I would say making sure the colors that you choose for your brand matter, even if it's a pitch that you're going to a bank to get a loan from someone, spend extra time on that. It doesn't seem important now, but if you look at the largest restorers, and I'm not going to say names, but if you listed off some of the largest restoration companies in the country, their name doesn't actually say what they do. And I think that's really important when you come up with a name for a company. If it's one thing, like even ATI today, so people in the industry know who we are, but my next door neighbor would not be able to tell you who ATI is. Quite honestly, I'd say more times than not, they get us confused with a massage physical therapy company that goes by ATI as well. There's many ATIs, but ATI doesn't describe a restoration company, which is why you can see on the bottom of my shirt here, we put restoration on the bottom for consumer branding. So that extra, whether it's 30 minutes, spend an extra $1,000, hire someone that you know in marketing to help you define your brand because you could be the next ATI. You may be starting a business with $5,000 and you could be the next best thing 30 years down the road, but spend that extra time and have purpose. We all have networks, we all have friends, but all of those decisions from the name of the website to the name of your Instagram page or Facebook page, once you make that decision, changing it 5 years down the road, 15 years down the road, those become very challenging and difficult as we put our branding everywhere online, your vehicles, your building, your uniforms. Changing a logo 10 years down the road could be $1,000 or it could be mega millions of dollars to make changes because you didn't give it a lot of thought when you started. So that would be the advice I would give my dad if he were restarting ATI right now. Spend that extra $5,000, talk to someone in marketing and figure out how you should name your company, what colors should they be given the service that you provide, etc.
Let's get your final thoughts, final words of advice. Maybe talk about how you've tapped into IICRC Certified Firm programming, things you've done, challenges you faced to overcome. What would you tell those watching this? And let's start with you, Kevin, on that.
I think, as far as getting improvement in your business and work, yes, IICRC certification, will safe certification, things like that really go a long way to establishing credibility. And I think you've got to have multiple streams of income. I mean, guys that were just doing new home carpet installs in 2008, some of them died with the housing crisis because they were just putting everything into new homes. So they didn't have any business other than that. So they died. Guys during COVID at the very start of it and just had certain kinds of commercial work, maybe they had to fall by the wayside because they just got shut out, particularly in states that had the mandates to shut things down. So multiple streams. Don't rely on one or two sources for your income. Morning meetings, training your technicians, things like, there's Super Tech University for the technical trades. Things like that are great for training your staff. And you also asked about handling setbacks or challenges in the business. I think day to day we handle setbacks, right? And then there's the bigger ones. I think the little ones give us the confidence that we can overcome the bigger ones. And often we seek out a mentor, we start a business, somebody to help us along. Well, that same mentor probably has gone through some of those setbacks, and that person or people like that would be a great person to lean on for help in the future as well.
Well covered. Jeff, same question to you, but here's the thing. You are an IICRC certified firm, but you're also part of RIA. I believe both organizations partner together to work together. How do you use that to make your company the success it is? And looking at what they offer you, the different benefits to overcome challenges. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, so I think that all comes down to people. So, we all want to differentiate our businesses. We're only as good. I mentioned earlier, we're a dime a dozen. There's a lot of people that clean carpets. There's a lot of people that do restoration. But at the end of the day, we all, in my opinion, I always say we have one customer. That's our employees. You have to have an engaged workforce. They have to like coming into work. You end up spending more time with your work employees and friends and family than you do your real friends and family. It's a real sad but honest truth of enjoying where you work. So by being a certified firm, being an RIA, those are ways that we can differentiate ourselves. At the end of the day, we're only as good as a person going out to extract water on a job today. And if they don't feel fulfilled, there's a lot of other jobs they can do. Instead of being in restoration, they can go work at Chick-fil-A. They may be able to make more money at Chick-fil-A on an hourly basis than working in restoration. How do you change that? You give them a career path. And I think IICRC and RAA allows us to do that. I can show someone a career path and where you can start off as a technician. I can provide IICRC lots of designations to get you from technician to supervisor, supervisor to handling major large loss catastrophes, ultimately into management. You can move into operations, you can be a project manager, you can be an estimator. Eventually, you can run an office. And I would say the guys and gals that are running offices for ATI that are running P&Ls of anywhere from 10 million to $50 million, I would say most went to college. Not all went to college. Some of them grew up in the industry, started off as carpet cleaners, and now are responsible for 200 or 300 employees. And so I think it's an incredible path. It's an incredible industry. It's very diverse. We've gone through major downturns in our economy, elections, housing crisis, COVID. This is one of those resilient industries. The reason private equity has come into this industry is because it's resilient, it's stable. We have more disasters every day. So this is one of the very few industries that there will be more jobs, more employees every year in the future for as long as I think I will survive this planet. We will just have more opportunities. And so I think IICRC, RA working together is an incredible, valuable asset for all of us restorers and carpet cleaners. We need to create a vision and a career path as an industry. So if I want to go from carpet cleaner to running a branch for ATI or any restoration company, I know what my future holds because at the end of the day, especially the younger people, they want to know where they're going. They don't necessarily want to know where they're going to be in 6 months or 12 months. They want to know that I've got a career here in restoration well beyond the company they're working for. Because there's very few people that are going to last 10 years at any employer these days, just not the way people are built anymore. And so making sure there's a career path for the industry and making sure we as employers are investing in our staff, not only from a cost and investment training. And I think that's what RIA and IICRC do. They provide those outside training and education paths for people in an industry that just it's not very well established, and carriers require these educational requirements, and we have to invest in our people. And by doing so, you will create loyal employees, and your P&L will be represented by that by investing. Spending the dollars today will help you succeed in the future.
Well said, and thank you both for this time today. Jeff Moore, Kevin Kluth, business success stories that others can learn from. I'll see you both at the next trade show.